My name is Mike Hilton. I'm the Vice President and GM of Hybrid IT here at HPE Canada. And it's my pleasure today to talk to you about the relationship between HPE and Microsoft as it relates to hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud being a really important part of the foundational relationship between the two organizations. As you're probably aware, HPE and Microsoft have had a long-standing alliance for quite some time, and both of our leaders have very aggressively pushed the organizations to embrace this concept of hybrid cloud or hybrid IT. And then we really have one mission, and that's driving the success of all of our customers in a digital age. Having worked at Microsoft myself for many, many years, it was a standard practice that all presentations had to have a Satya slide. And so, as part of this presentation, we'll have a Satya slide today. But what's important about this slide is, this is Microsoft's view of Azure and the concept of the intelligent cloud combined with the intelligent edge. And it's that intelligent edge that HPE is so well defined to participate in. HPE has both the products, the services, and the capabilities to deliver that full intelligent edge that's completely integrated into the intelligent cloud. And this is what makes HPE an excellent partner with Microsoft in the development of an overall hybrid cloud strategy. Now that I'm at HPE, it's important that we also have a CEO slide, so we have an Antonio slide. But what's important here is how HPE has redefined the organization to focus on this concept of delivering technology as a service, being able to provide that as a service offering so that whether you're in a private cloud or in a public cloud, you have a consumption-based relationship with the technology that you're using. And HPE has positioned itself as a commitment that by 2022, everything we do can be delivered as a service. And again, whether that is on-premise, in a private cloud, or hybrid public cloud, HPE is positioning ourselves to be that partner to deliver that capability. So this partnership that is founded by and delivered by the organizations as a whole, both HPE and Microsoft, and supported by the CEOs of both companies, is really a part of a critical team to helping to deliver that overall hybrid cloud experience to our customers. The partnership is built on over 30 years of collaboration between HPE and Microsoft. And HPE is an Azure Expert MSP, one of only a few partners in the world that have that designation. Between Microsoft and HPE, we share about 30 or 40,000 common partners. And we have numerous technologies that support this overall relationship between the two organizations. If we think about the concept of hybrid cloud, let's look at the reality of where hybrid cloud is today. The first thing is the world is hybrid. Let's look at where it sits within our world. So the first thing is hybrid is all around us. The world is hybrid, and it's becoming more so every day. Not only in terms of the hybrid relationship between on-premise IT and public cloud, but we also are now pushing more and more technology into the field. The concept of edge clouds is becoming more important, where I can actually push compute and storage to the very edge of my organization, whether it's out in the field in a forestry operation or in a refinery or a manufacturing facility. And so with that in mind, we really need to think about how we manage a hybrid experience. And that really takes us to the next concept, which is cloud is not a destination. And really, it's not even a journey per se, it's an experience. The concept of cloud is really this idea that I can acquire the services I need, whether those are compute services or storage services, and I can deliver them in a consumption-based model so that what I'm experiencing is I only pay for what I use, and I can move my investments around as required. And it's this concept of cloud as an experience, whether that experience exists in a hyperscale cloud or that experience goes all the way down to an on-premise or private cloud. And then finally, when you look at the idea of hybrid being multi-cloud, and that might be multi-hyperscale cloud, although today we're talking predominantly about customers that are positioned primarily with Azure, but also many customers today have multiple private clouds that they work with, and that includes SaaS solutions that they may be using in their organizations. So the combination of on-premise and private cloud, multi-private cloud, SaaS offerings, And multi-public or hyperscale cloud requires us to manage our IT assets in an entirely different way. And being able to bring capabilities to support that and create a unified experience across that is what HPE and Microsoft are partnering to do. When we think about this journey to hybrid cloud, there's obviously significant challenges that customers face. And some of the top challenges are things like the ability to determine where's the optimum location to put certain workloads to make sure I'm getting the most value out of the platforms that those workloads are running on. And what we find is nearly 50% of customers mark that as one of their top issues in trying to address hybrid cloud is where should I put the workload and how do I get the most value out of where I put that workload? And then the second one is putting things all up into hyperscale cloud is not necessarily the most cost effective. And so what is the most cost effective locations and how do I optimize my workloads to make sure that I'm managing my costs as part of that overall hybrid experience? We hear from many customers that they can, in some cases, nearly double, but in most cases, as much as a 40% increase in the cost of operating something when they move to public cloud. That's not necessarily because public cloud is the wrong place for it, but it's because they don't have the right mix of private cloud and public cloud, and they haven't optimized the workloads to support those locations. And so ultimately, what we want to do is deliver an environment where the customer can actually say, okay, if I can find the right location to put it in and I can optimize the costs to support that workload, can I actually reduce my overall cost of delivering IT? Can I actually create a cash incentive or a cash flow incentive in my business to support my overall hybrid strategy? And this is really what HPE is trying to deliver. You know, we talk to many, many organizations where 40 to 50% of their storage sits idle. They have 25 or 30% of their VMs are sitting idle. They're running, but they're not actually being used by the business. And all of that takes space in the data center. It requires those VMs to be maintained and supported by the organization. It requires that storage to have power and to have cooling associated with it. And when you do all of that, you end up in an environment where I'm overpaying to run my IT. And if I can right size, or as we say, right mix, the combination of private cloud and public cloud and where the workloads go and optimize how they operate, we can find reduced annual IT savings or reduced annual IT costs, which delivers savings to the organization. And in doing so, we actually can create an environment where in many cases, the transition to hybrid cloud is fully funded because the savings that we can achieve through this organizational restructuring pays for the IT optimization or the IT transformation on its own. And so when you think about what HPE is trying to do, is we first and foremost want to be that trusted partner that can help you accelerate to the public cloud, put the right workloads in the public cloud, optimize them in such a way that you're getting value as part of that transition, and then identify what workloads need to be in a private cloud and build the right private cloud to support the overall hybrid strategy of the company. Once we've done that, we're in a great position to optimize those cloud deployments, make sure that we're leveraging the concept of consumption and taking advantage of things like time of day operating, where I may have a workload that only needs to operate from 8 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. And then I could reduce the amount of compute that I allocate to it and save cost, because my costs, both in public cloud as well as an appropriately designed private cloud, can be tied to consumption. And then I have freed up capacity. I've freed up people capacity, which is the most expensive aspect of operating my IT environment. I've freed up people capacity, space capacity, financial capacity to support the overall cloud transformation. So HPE is very well positioned to be this transformational partner where we have the right technology, we can bring the right people, and we develop the right economic model to allow you and your organization to be successful in the adoption of hybrid cloud and hybrid IT. Once we're able to start this overall transformation, we get into this concept that I referred to earlier of building the right mix of clouds. You know, move to the cloud as aggressively as you can, but then innovate and make sure that you're taking advantage of not only what is available in hyperscale cloud, but what is available in private cloud and on-premise, and then run that hybrid environment in a way that provides the most optimized efficiency for the organization. And we want to be able to do that by delivering on-premise hybrid solutions as a service. And this is really where HPE has revolutionized the idea of how you acquire on-premise technology. We're all familiar with the concept of consumption and utilization as a service, whether it be infrastructure as a service or platform as a service in hyperscale cloud. But HPE has found a way to be able to deliver storage and compute and specialty computing technologies, either at the bare metal level, the VM level, or now container level, and do that in a way where it's a consumption-based service, where it's delivered to you as a service. So when we think about embracing this concept of consumption, we also want to do that across a variety of cloud use cases. So the ability to have data mobility, the ability to take advantage of the concept that data has gravity and have data in a location that's appropriate while still available to public cloud services. Be able to access data across multiple cloud environments, both private and public. And then be able to do that both with traditional virtualization technologies, but also taking advantage of where we're going in the computing area today around the use of containerization. And again, delivering all of these use cases in an as-a-service model. So the first thing we want to talk about is how to transform the people in your organizations or the processes. We know that many organizations are spending, as you can see from the statistics we're showing here, that many projects fall short of the business results because we haven't modified our business processes or our organizations to take advantage of these changes. And then in many cases, we don't have the right people or we're not using people appropriately within the organization. And so we need to evolve the people in our organization, give them new skills and new capabilities, and also develop a cloud operations mentality that is not a traditional IT operations mentality, but one that's tied to agile and being able to deliver the agility and the nimbleness that our companies are looking for. The other thing we want to do is obviously transform the economics of how we deliver IT services. And if you look at where most of the costs are in how IT is delivered, it's tied up in people and equipment that are not necessarily operating at the most efficient level. I have people doing things like patching and firmware updates. I have people commissioning hardware that is not going to be used for maybe 6 months because I pre-purchased capacity, but I still need to commission it. I have power and storage and cooling costs that are associated with that equipment. And those costs occur whether I use it or not because I need it available for me when it's ready, but I incur all of those costs associated with it regardless. And so how do I develop an environment where I've got the capacity available to me, but I'm not paying for it until I need it? And that's not something we're used to in the on-premise environment. But what HPE has tried to do is to deliver a capability around this idea of consumption on-premise or infrastructure as a service on-premise through GreenLake, which is HPE's offering around delivering IT as a service on-premise. So if you look at how we traditionally would deliver IT services, there would be and in fact, even before the quotes go out, there'd be an assessment as to what the needs of the organization are. The organization would then issue some quotes, they'd give some price changes, configuration changes, you'd negotiate it, then there's shipping time, then it gets delivered on site, I have to configure it, I have to update it, et cetera. And on average, that could be anywhere from 6 months to it could be a year, but we see on average it's about almost 6 months, 133 days, versus the GreenLake model where we'll figure out what the right mix is for you, deliver that on premise, and then you have a baseline that you operate in, but you only pay for the baseline while you're using it. And then you have a variable component that's made available to you on premise, and you can burst into that variable component and then come back out, and you only pay for what you use as part of that overall capacity. And then we work with you to help manage the growth of that platform so that you always have available to you that variable capacity, but you only pay for what you use out of that variable. And so that's how we can deliver the concept of consumption-based services in an on-premise environment. So if you think about HPE as being this company that has a great reputation of delivering world-class capability around private and public cloud, around being able to deliver the right technology to support that on-premise environment, but it's integrated in a way that leverages public cloud capability. We really are the company that's delivered the first and only true cloud strategy that effectively funds itself, because we can help move to a consumption-based model. We can right-size the organization so you're not over-procuring capacity. You simply acquire capacity as you need it, and you only pay for what you use, taking those savings and allowing those savings to be used to fund the entire hybrid IT initiative. And then finally, building an open hybrid IT platform that's able to support a variety of workloads and evolve over time for your organization. And this is really where HPE, in partnership with Microsoft, has tried to deliver the right hybrid cloud experience to all of our customers. So hopefully that was exactly what you were looking for in terms of understanding hybrid cloud and hybrid IT and the role that HPE and Microsoft are playing together to deliver these solutions to our customers.